Hey, Robyn Openshaw here. Welcome to Robyn Openshaw Bitcoin. I love to talk to mostly Gen X and boomers about why to get involved in this technological revolution with the technology, the network, the digital asset known as Bitcoin. A lot of us are like, well, we've already made our money. We're doing fine. Why do we need to learn about Bitcoin? Well, because there's a tectonic shift going on in the world. So I'm going to the Bitcoin conference in Las Vegas in a couple of weeks. So I wanted to get this video done to talk about how to custody your Bitcoin, the pros and cons. I'm going to do it in the shortest way possible. This is going to be like really simplified of what your options are. First of all, we all have to start here. You have to buy your Bitcoin on an exchange. And the exchanges are, there's a bunch of them, but the common ones are Coinbase. I use Coinbase. I also use Uphold. Other ones are Kraken and Gemini and crypto.com, and there are others. But so you start by buying your crypto on or your Bitcoin on the exchange. Now you can leave it on the exchange, and Coinbase recently announced that they're going to start paying people 4 to 8% to hold their Bitcoin on the exchange. Well, that's their effort to keep money on the exchange. But what they're doing is basically a version of what banks do, which is fractional reserve lending, which is they're taking the money that you used to buy your Bitcoin and or they're borrowing against your Bitcoin and they're going out there and investing in it. So the 4 to 8%, there's a cost to that. And the cost is they are redeploying your money. So to me, that represents risk. I don't want to keep my coins on the exchanges. I do have some on Coinbase and on Uphold, but most of it I keep in other ways. So another way you can keep it if you want to take your coins off of the exchange. Okay, maybe you want to leave it there and you think, well, you know what? Coinbase has like a huge percentage of the crypto. If it goes down, maybe the whole asset's going down anyway. If you want to just leave it on Coinbase, that's one option. Okay, not judging, just telling you what your options are. You could put it on a worm wallet, which is accessible only digitally. That's less secure. Then you at least hold it. You hold your coins yourself. Probably the best though is to put it on a cold wallet. The devices I'm most familiar with are Trezor and Engrave. Okay, so you're holding that digital code on a small device, which you can keep in a safe place. But then you're going to record and you can put it on titanium plates. Stampseed.com will sell you titanium plates that you can punch in your 12 seed phrases so it can never burn in fire. But you're going to keep your 12 seed phrases. Now, you're probably thinking, if I do that, okay, I'm holding my store of value. I'm keeping it outside of any entity. No bank can collapse with a bank bail-in or any of those hassles. So you're right. Now the responsibility is on you. And so you have to think about whether you're ready for that responsibility. Geez, what if I got dementia? Geez, how would if I died suddenly, if I got hit by a bus, how would my children access it? So these are real issues that you have to think through if you're going to self-custody your Bitcoin. My solution involves my estate attorney having half my seed phrases. And the other half being in a safe place where the two people closest to me know where they are. There are companies getting into advising people about chain of custody, estate planning, issues like that. The whole space is evolving so fast, there's new options all the time. But another thing you can do is all the banks are starting to pile in. You can have exposure to Bitcoin by getting one of the 5 different financial products that MicroStrategy has. I don't know all the details of them. I don't invest in them. Even the founder of the company, Michael Saylor, says, I don't think you should buy my financial products over owning your own Bitcoin. But let's say you own your own Bitcoin, but you want to invest in one of MicroStrategy's products because it's literally outperforming Bitcoin. So it's the top performing stock in the world. So if you're into that, you can go to, I think it's MSTR is the stock ticker. You just buy stock in it, but they have several other financial products, and that's beyond the scope of this video. So you can get some exposure on the stock market or through sort of traditional finance instruments, you can get some exposure to Bitcoin so that when number goes up, you win. But you're not necessarily worrying about all the hassles of self-custodying on a cold wallet. By the way, about the cold wallet, you don't actually have to have the device to access your Bitcoin. You could recover it with just your 12 seed phrases. So you might wonder, well, why do I even need the cold wallet? Well, it makes it very convenient. It makes it easy to get it off of the device. So, but you're always going to want to keep your seed phrases. Those are everything. And it's a really common saying in crypto and in Bitcoin, not your keys, not your coin. What that means is if it's on Coinbase, you don't have the seed phrases. Technically, it's not your money. Just like if you have your money in the bank at Chase or at Wells Fargo, that's not your money either. It's their money and there's an IOU to you for the amount that you deposited. So you might say, who cares? It's just a technicality. Well, it's all fun and games until you have some financial collapse. And we are, I'm sure they'll keep the plates spinning. I'm sure there's all kinds of tricks up the sleeve of the US Treasury and the Fed, but we really are on the brink of default. So I'm sure that they'll pull some stunts, and I'm sure we're not going to see a collapse of the US dollar anytime soon. However, if it helps you sleep at night like it does me, to have some of your store of value, like your excess energy stored in something that's outside their banks and all the shenanigans and all the hypothecations that they do, a cold wallet and keeping your seed phrases is a great way to feel like you have some protection against things that are way beyond your control. So you put it on a cold wallet, the banks of the United States have just had the doors blown open and they've been told you can custody crypto, you can invest in crypto. So you will sit here and watch, I bet, every major bank get into the game. Okay, my wealth advisor, he only has a little bit of my net worth. And he has just really hasn't gotten on the Bitcoin train, but he's a Goldman Sachs guy. And what's pretty funny is that Goldman Sachs is now talking about getting into Bitcoin. I've been meaning to write him and not really like poke him, but kind of say, hey, so are you going to learn about Bitcoin now that Goldman Sachs is getting in the game? But BlackRock is now saying 2 to 5% of your portfolio should be Bitcoin. That's a big move considering that Larry Fink, head of BlackRock, which has more assets under management than any company in, I think, the world, for sure the US, a few years ago was calling Bitcoin a pet rock. So it's clearly grown way past anybody being able to accuse it of being a pet rock. There's the fastest adoption of any technology in history going on right now. You can get in early or you can get in late. A lot of people will be forced in and will get in late. And I hope you're not one of them. I hope you get in early. I hope that you realize that the wrong number for you in your own personal ownership of Bitcoin is 0. That's the wrong number. That's the one thing that I can tell you. From there, it's up to you. Everything's up to you, but I do want to encourage you to get off of 0. I find that when people buy $50 or $500 or $5,000 worth of Bitcoin, that is when they start learning about it. And it is a really exciting journey to learn about Bitcoin. So with that, I'll report back after the Las Vegas Bitcoin conference. It's the first one I've been to. I've sat out all the other conferences in the 5.5 years since I started buying Bitcoin. But I'll tell you what the highlights are. I'll take notes, and that'll probably be my next video. Okay, I'll see you next time. Oh, join our Wednesday mastermind. Link down below. Get a 3rd month free. Use coupon code ROBYN, ROBYN, for $50 off. Bye, everyone.